I was the only set where it poured rain.
Oh, really?
And I was like, fuck y'all, I'm not stopping. I need this. I need every bit of this stage time.
Ollie Joseph, a.k.a. Big Hoss, a.k.a. the Poppy Chulo of Mountain Pop Studios.
And the fact that Bro Drop a Song now gets 20,000 streams in the first day is mind-blowing to me because I have no musical talent. I'm living my dream already. If you do that for some money and then you're like, oh, this label owns everything I do for like 10 years, brother, that's your fault. That's no one else's fault except for yourself. I don't feel sorry for your dumb ass. You should have checked the terms and conditions. Oh, 45.
Yeah, it's all because I got high.
Yeah.
I got high. I never would have thought I would ever do a song with Afro Man, and it landed me in Rolling Stone. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is The One Sheet presented by DistroKid. I am Kyle Fortch, and today on the show, we have an independent artist with near 700,000 monthly listeners on Spotify alone, over 100 million streams, born and raised in Japan, now living here in Nashville, Tennessee. Ollie Joseph, a.k.a. Big Hoss, a.k.a. the Poppy Chulo of Mountain Pop Studios. Thank you for being here, man. I appreciate it.
Dude, thanks for having me. Hell of an intro.
I talked to Jimmy last night.
No way, dude. Oh my God, that's funny.
Man, thank you for being here. I appreciate you taking the time. Man, what's been going on with you?
Shoot, just moved recently. Moved from Midtown up the street, so getting settled into the new crib, been running a lot, and just kind of getting ready to front load a lot of work for the time I'm taking off for the holidays.
Yeah. Where are you going?
I'm just going home, and then I'm going with my girl's family to Hawaii.
Nice.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
That's sick. How long are you going away for?
Probably the week of Thanksgiving, and then sometime in late December over the New Year's.
Cool.
Yeah, so anytime I take off, I try to get as much work done beforehand so I'm not tweaking while I'm trying to enjoy myself about, like, fuck, I should have gotten. Can I? Are we like?
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet.
We're on Rumble. It's uncensored.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So just trying to get all my ducks in a row for the time off.
Cool. Man, speaking of Jimmy, your latest single, Lower 48, just came out, and there's a line on there, Jack and Jimmy with my vocals is a smash hit. For the people that don't know, who are Jack and Jimmy, and how'd you get connected with them to start working with them?
Jack and Jimmy are my two guys. They're my two main producers. Jimmy's out of Colorado Springs. Jack is originally out of Michigan, but now lives in LA. I got connected with them. I found Jimmy on YouTube, and then we were going back and forth, and I'm not gonna lie, he didn't hit me with a follow back right away. Maybe he didn't believe in me, but eventually we started rocking out and became super close, and he just he makes like the exact sound that I'm looking for. And Jack, I got connected with through a buddy of mine who they live together. I've known our mutual friend for ages. And so I think I got connected with Jack in 2019, and it was one of those, like, I was like, bro, send me the pack. And he's like, I got you, man. I'll send you the pack. Never sent the pack for about 3 years. I was like, man, I'm about to pull up on you for the pack. And so eventually I met him in person in Los Angeles, and he was like, all right, yeah, let's link up, see what we can come up with. And then literally from that day on, like, we've been locked in. So those are my two main guys, and together we've developed out my sound that I call mountain pop, which is a blend of kind of melodic pop rap over instrumentation that could maybe considered pop country, but with like urban drums. So it's more of a feeling than a sound. That sounds kind of corny, but the mountains are my happy place, and I want anyone who listens to my music to be taken to where I feel, kind of most at home.
That's fair. That's cool too, like, because it shows some versatility too. Because I remember when I first discovered you, it was through a record called Jupiter with Drew.
Oh man!
And I heard the singing, and then I started listening to your other stuff, and you were like rapping. I was like, okay, cool. And then as I kept listening, I'm like, I could hear so many different elements of sounds. And have you ever done a pop punk record?
No. So I was literally just listening to Slipknot on the way here.
Really?
Like I grew up listening to a lot of the like Yellow Card and Good Charlotte when I was in Michigan as a kid briefly. I think it was Madden 2022. It had, or 2023. One of those had like a ton of Good Charlotte, Yellow Card, like those type of records on there. And so that's kind of became a fan of that style of music. And then I know it recently from like maybe like 2020 to 2022, pop punk had a solid run, but I didn't want to dabble with that. Because I don't really think I can hit a good like, where are you? That's kind of the only song I can nail pop punk. But other than that, I don't really want to jump on what's popular at the moment. Like even how now like the country sounds popular. I've had people reach out and be like, yo, I'm doing the country shit too. I'm not doing the country stuff. Like this is something that I've been doing since about early 2021. This is something that me and my buddies are building out. I love country music. I'm a fan of it as much as everyone else is here. They show love to me, but I think people who really know my music wouldn't consider me a country artist at all, or consider me kind of riding this like cool wave. This is just something that I like making music that's just natural. That comes out naturally. And pop punk wouldn't, because like I never went through like a scene phase. So I'd feel like if I did, I would just be kind of trying to like make a quick buck off of it.
That's fair. I see what you're saying. Like there were some elements in some of your records where I was like, man, Travis Barker would sound sick doing some drums on this. Or
I would
think
for
you
sure
could do
work
something
with
really
people.
cool with him.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, if Travis Barker wants to work, yeah, let's line that up. A buddy of mine who goes, his artist and producer name's Hush. He has a song called The 90s that I think he put out in early 2020, kind of right before the pop punk stuff took off. I think, and I could be completely wrong. I hope I'm not, but I think MGK kind of set off the new pop punk wave, and everyone's like, oh, fuck, I want to try this too. But my buddy Hush he grew up playing drums, listening to a lot of that music, and he's someone who, like, he's told me before, he's like, bro, we got to get you on a pop punk record. I'm like, dude, I'll just leave that shit to you, because he kills that kind of sound, because that's natural to him. Like, I just don't think it would be natural for me.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I still think it would sound cool though.
Maybe I'll try. Yeah,
because I was listening to another interview you did, and you were talking about how kind of one of the things you want to do next is collaboratory. Is work with someone that's bigger than yourself or has more streams than you. And I was like, man, Travis Barker would be sick.
Yeah, dude, we'll have to shoot. I mean, if I had the connections,
yeah. And speaking of which, man, another thing that I found really interesting about your career and your music is a lot of days now in the social media world, you see a lot of people like TikTokers and stuff with like millions and millions of followers, and then they try to do the music thing and no one's listening. They'll have like a few thousand monthly listeners or a couple 100,000 for like a 25 million follower account. Yourself, you've got hundreds of millions of streams. You've got hundreds of thousands of monthly listeners on Spotify, but the social media side, if you go from Spotify to your social media, you're like, this looks different.
Yeah, I get that all the time. Like, yo, is this you?
Yeah,
yeah, it's me.
So how did you build the music side in terms of Spotify? I know you use something called Artlist for sync, but did you kind of?
Dude, you know a lot.
I do my research, man.
Okay,
but so you use that for syncing with creators, but was it kind of consistency that helped you get in the Spotify algorithm, or how did you do that so much better than other artists?
I don't know if I necessarily did it better than other artists. I think a lot of other artists just don't work. I forgot where I heard this the other day. Every time I'm like, oh damn, someone said this to me the other day. I can never fucking remember who it was, but it was a clip of Lil Dicky on Kai Cenat's stream.
I just started seeing those pop up too.
Yeah, and he said he was talking about how like when he was getting his artist project off the ground, how a lot of people close to him didn't believe in him, how his parents had to talk with him like, hey, maybe you shouldn't do this, it's really risky. And he said that there's 0.01% in the people of the world who are like really talented, and then 0.01 of those people will actually pursue that talent. So you already have a pretty good shot if you just try. I try. That's it. Yeah. I show up. I treat this like, people are like, oh, I don't want to treat it like a job. It takes the fun out of it. it'll take the fun out of it if you don't like fucking working. I love putting the work in. I love dropping songs. That's my job. I am a musician. The people who listen to me expect something out of me. I'm not going to let them down. So all I do is show up and put the work in. It's pretty fucking simple, to be honest. And I don't want to sit up here and for the artists out there who have been at it for a really long time and maybe it just hasn't clicked with them, I guarantee you those people haven't put out high quality music at a consistent rate for a long time. Because if everyone that I've come across that has, you can see an overall trend upwards. Now, what that trend is, it could be going from like, you know, maybe you start out and over the years you've accumulated 50,000 monthly listeners, 100,000, a million, 5 million. But as long as you're moving in the right direction, I've seen people take their foot out the gas and it just kills their momentum. So
yeah, I've done that.
If we're talking figuratively in a car, I just fucking took the brake pedal off. I got 2 gas pedals and I just floor that shit all the time. So I think that what I've done differently is just not stop the consistency and the momentum. And my snowball rolls really slow, but over time you look back, you're like, damn, this shit got a lot bigger than it was when I started off. So I think when it comes to like building out a sound and staying consistent, you have to find people who are as hungry, if not hungrier than you are, to get to the same destination as you. And so Jack and Jimmy, going back to them, those two, in my opinion, work harder than me. And I'm sure if you'd ask them, they'd be like, yeah, Ollie's a really hard worker too. And so us all together, we've formed something that we have like a solid workflow to where I'm able to put out high quality music at a consistent rate, which is why it got me to where I am on the streaming side. Now on the social side, I neglected social media for a very long time until about maybe halfway through last year. I was like, okay, I just had like a late recollection of like, maybe this shit's here to stay, which I should have like 5 years ago. But I think if I had to remove something from the process, it would be social media, because I don't like fucking doing it. I'll also be completely honest, like there's parts of the journey that I don't fucking like.
Yeah.
I don't like social media. I don't like posting all the time. I don't really care to let people in on what I have going on in my personal life, because at the moment it's not the happiest stuff. And so I don't want to hop on the camera like letting people into a bunch of like personal stuff I have going on that's sad. I don't want to fucking ruin someone's day who's having a good day. And I also don't want to act like this is my life's fucking awesome and super happy when it's not. So it's kind of hard trying to figure out what to share with people when you don't already want to do it. And that kind of leads me sometimes to not being consistent with social media when I am consistent with music. And so, yeah, I fucked up and probably missed the train on social media. And now I'm playing catch up, but I would much rather have it be, I'm a fucking musician, man. I don't care what people think I look like, to be honest, because I got nothing to offer you when it comes to that. Like if you're coming to my page to like see some drip, I got no drip. I wear this shit like this. I don't wear anything crazy. I'm not doing any antics or skits or really anything to entertain you on there. I just post memes and try to be myself. But even that, it's like hard to fucking point a camera at yourself and be like, act normal. Yeah. Like people are like, bro, just film yourself. You say funny shit all the time. I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Just like repeat it? It looks weird, bro. Like sometimes I'll post some shit and it takes me like 20 takes because I'm fucking fumbling over my words just because that camera's looking at me. So social media isn't something that comes natural to me, but making a song, I've done it so many times that I fucking love doing it, and that is how I get my personality out, not social media. Social media is just there to hopefully like guide people who randomly find me on social media to the music. Everything goes back to the music. I care about what people I care about what people's opinions when they hear what I have to say on a song, not with what I look like. I get it's a phenomenal promotional tool. I'm not knocking it at all. It's part of the process I don't like, but I still do it. I still try and show up and be as consistent as I can, but I'll just miss the fucking train, dude. I neglected it, and it was a dumbass decision on my end.
I don't think you missed the train. I just think you're getting on a couple stops late. But I mean,
I'm getting on the way back of the train.
But I would argue that the way you did it is better, because you'd rather have these millions of people listening to your music than have 20 million people following you and they don't give a shit about your music.
For
right?
sure, yeah.
So, and also to your other point, like, obviously you want to align with what you put out and what you let people see into your life, but do you think that even if you did show some of the hard times, that it would allow people to relate to you in some of your music?
Yeah,
bit?
no, yeah. I 100% agree. It would, but it's just hard.
It's hard, yeah.
Like, because I'm not I have one of my really close friends one time was like, I feel like I don't know. He's like, you know everything about me, but I feel like I don't really know much about you. And I was like, cool, let's keep it that way. But I don't know. The way I grew up, I mean, my family is really small. It's just me, my mom, my dad, and my brother. So I didn't grow up like having super close friends, because I moved every 3 years because I was in a military family. So I think sharing my personal side is done through the music, and I don't like sharing like the hardships as much as I do the fun parts, which is kind of going against what I know. People are like, oh yeah, social media is just like a highlight reel, like people like it when they get the real shit. But yeah, I don't know, sometimes I think it's important to keep some parts of your life private. Like, sure. I don't think everyone's entitled to know exactly what everybody who you're interested in has going on. Like, I mean, when artists keep their relationships private, I very much so respect that.
Yeah. Because
you don't know who the fuck's creeping on your significant other's page, or just like looking to ruin their day and like call them certain names and shit like that. So I also like, fuck, if I ever get in a beef with anybody, bro, I don't want people knowing shit about me. I want to know shit about that. Yeah.
That's fair. It's tough to be vulnerable too, in terms of, I mean, in general, like it's easy to show the good times. It's tough to show vulnerable times. Mm-hmm. And then in terms of keeping stuff private, like the girl I was just dating recently, like it was the first time where I was really like, okay, I'm going to keep this off of social media. And I'm not famous or anything, but it's just, I felt like everything else that I do is like, it's always on social media, whether it's a podcast, whether it's music, whether it's TV stuff. I'm like, everything's out for everybody to know. I'm like, I just want to keep this to us.
Yeah. And why do I have to share more shit than the people who are like listening to my stuff? Like, let me know everything about you. Tell me everything. I guarantee you would not like sharing all that shit. And you would also feel an immense amount of pressure having to be like, oh, now I got to post this. Now I got to post that. This isn't for the faint of heart, and it's not as easy. Social media is not as easy as everyone makes it seem. Like, if you're me being already somewhat successful as an independent artist, and my definition of success is being able to make a living off of it. I don't do anything else. I'm a musician at this point.
That's the dream.
I used to have a full-time job. I got laid off in May of 2023, but I was going to quit anyway because I was making enough off the streaming side to be able to do this full time. So that's my definition of success. So I can say I am a successful independent artist per my definition. And it's not, but like, dude, this shit is stressful as fuck. It's easy for the people who are already on and making like millions of dollars to be like, oh, it's not that fucking hard. It's also easy for me to look at an artist at my level and be like, it's not that fucking hard. Just do what I do. And they're like, well, you don't fucking get it because blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you probably went through different things that I went through at that stage because times change. But
for sure,
there's very hard parts of the process, and a very hard part for me is being able to play the social media game right, because I just don't really like doing it.
Have you thought about streaming rather than just like posting videos? Because I feel like sitting here talking to you, you said you were, it's tough to be yourself, just like pointing a camera, pressing record. But if you're just leave it running, recording, and just interact with people, that was something for me early on in TikTok, like especially during COVID. There was nothing to do. I'm like, I need to talk to somebody. I don't care if they're typing in my chat or what. But it kind of got easier as you go along. But just being able to interact with people and them saying, "Oh, you're a musician," or even if you like say you and Jimmy and Jack were like doing like a live stream where you're mixing a beat or writing a song. Like, I've seen artists do well with that as well.
Yeah, we've actually talked about, Jack and I have talked about that a few times, and we were like, yeah, it would be easy to just chop up and post things from that, because we just say most of the time when Jimmy and I work together, it's like 90% hanging out and like 10% work, because those are two of my really good friends. But I love going on Instagram Live and just talking to people, but maybe I should look into that. No, I haven't really thought about that, to be honest.
Hey, it could be cool, man.
Yeah, it could be.
For sure.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that. Could be something fun to try.
So since we're on that topic, like, what do you think about the changing landscape of the industry, especially with like you see a lot of shakeups with major labels. There's a lot of people getting laid off, a lot of people coming and going. There's talks about mergers between majors, and then you see in a time now, because of social media, there's so many more successful independent artists like yourself that are actually making a living off of just doing it on their own. What do you think is kind of next for the industry? And do you think it's the labels are going to change how they do things? Because I think they need to, because what they're doing right now isn't working. Just grabbing a bunch of TikTokers and then putting out one song, and they're like, oh shit, no one's listening anymore. Let's shelve them or drop them.
I think that's kind of dying out for sure. But to be honest, man, like, I don't really pay attention to what goes on the label side of things, because I haven't had too much interest from them on my end, and I'm too busy to kind of see what they have going on too. Like, I really don't know probably as much as I should on the industry side of things. I know probably more than the average person, but I mean, I haven't ever been offered a deal. I have from distribution companies. I think that's where it's headed, is distribution companies are probably going to start being neck and neck in popularity with the labels as an option for artists, because the advance and splits probably make more sense than a label throwing you a couple $100,000, you getting taxed on that, having to split it up with your team, and then only getting 15% of the streams, but having to recoup off of that 15%.
Yeah.
That blows my mind. I don't see, unless you're like, fuck, I really need this money to help out my family, I don't see why anyone would do that. I would bet on myself 100 times over.
Yeah.
Rather than take a couple $100,000 and get fucked.
And then you see like a lot of these artists that do sign deals, then they're like, oh, we're not making any money off streaming. It's like, well, that's because
that's your fault. I was watching this Russ interview the other day, and he was like, you know, kind of like getting on people who were like, I signed a bad deal. He's like, you signed a bad deal, but the label signed a great deal.
Yeah.
Like, it worked out for them. And I don't
Is that the one with Andrew Schultz?
No, that was a good one. I love his interviews because they're like 3 hours long.
Me too.
And he just drops gems. It was with Rory and Maul, who left the Joe Budden show.
Okay.
But I think it was like in 2021. It was an older interview. But yeah, I don't feel bad for artists who have probably a lawyer look over the deal. The lawyer comes back to them. These are the terms. Boom. It's like, I don't feel bad for myself if my data's getting sold and I hit accept terms and conditions. Well, I didn't read that fucking 23-page thing. I'm scrolling to the bottom, hitting accept.
Yeah.
If you do that for some money, and then you're like, oh, fuck, this label owns everything I do for like 10 years. Brother, that's your fault. That's no one else's fault except for yourself. But then to go on social media and be like, yo, you guys need to, you know, come with me and say fuck the label. Like, bro, I don't feel sorry for your dumb ass. You should have checked the terms and conditions. But I think we're seeing less of that now too, because people share the same sentiment. It's like, I don't feel fucking sorry for you.
Yeah.
It's your fault. But I think artists just got to be smarter. Labels don't, to my knowledge, a lot of labels don't focus too much on artist development anymore. So you're not getting that attention and probably that push that you were looking to get from them. It's kind of like, I know a couple of people who've signed to some big labels and they all get told the same thing. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I would have just taken out a loan from the bank or something like that if that was the case. So I don't get it.
I think it's important for artists to start learning the business side too. Like, even if it's just a little bit. And I know, I find this especially in Nashville with like country artists, they just want to do the music, they just want to write the songs, and then that's their day. They want to write their song, go golfing or whatever, and which is cool. But I still think for artists on the come up, like you have to learn some of that business side. So then you're not in a place where you sign something that you didn't understand and you're like, oh, this is shitty.
Yeah. Well, it's just like any other job too. Like if you get hired at, I don't know, any company and you're like, oh, I just want to do the task I was hired for. The person who's going to get promoted doesn't just do what they were hired for. They know a little bit about other departments in the job, and they're learning new things every day. So that applies to music too. If you just want to write the music, you're probably going to be looked at as someone who just wants to do the music, and they're going to bend you over and take advantage of you. Again, that's your fault. If you want to just do the music and go golfing, you could have spent that time golfing, or at least like one day out of the week. Pick a day out of the week and like an hour out of that day just to get yourself schooled on how things work so you're not getting taken advantage of. Like I feel like I have the opposite look as when it comes to most artists, because I have an advertising degree from a solid school, and I worked corporate jobs for 6 years up until 2023 during my pursuit of all this. So I was pretty fucking good at every sales job I worked. So I know when someone's bullshitting me, I know how to bullshit people. I know the business side very, very well. Not necessarily all the intricacies of, labels and everything, but like the music business and whole, like I'm very confident as to my knowledge in that compared to like the average artist. And so that's just something that I wanted to learn and had experience with, thankfully, from like working jobs and shit, which I think, and this might be I don't know, I wouldn't say it's controversial, but I would say it's kind of like an off the wall opinion. I think independent artists should work normal jobs so they get to learn how any fucking business works. This is a fucking startup. I am the CEO of Ollie Joseph. I have people who work with me that have the same interest in getting us out the fucking mud and making this as successful as we can. I don't want to say like I'm trying to blow up or get as big as possible, but to us, our definition of success, we all have a collective interest in moving Ollie Joseph's project, which is multiple people. It's not just me in this, as far as we can. And all of the people involved with this are smart as fuck. I like people who think, miles ahead of myself around me. I don't want to be around some fucking bums or lazy people. And I'm not going to rip on anyone specifically in Nashville, in LA, and wherever, fucking New York, wherever other people are who make music. I think a lot of people are lazy as shit. That's a shitty excuse. I just want to make the music.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here with that. Why? That to me, that doesn't make sense. Maybe it does to them, and maybe like they know something I don't, but I don't know. I don't think that's going to get you too far just making the music. Unless you're fucking Drake. Yeah, then you can just make the music. But even him,
he doesn't just make the music.
No, he's a fucking boss. And he has like a ton of business ventures too. Yeah. So the people who just want to make the music and aren't talented as shit, you're just going to stay in that position. So you better get happy.
Special thanks to our presenting sponsor, DistroKid. DistroKid is a service that more than 2 million artists use to put music into online streaming services such as Spotify, TikTok, Apple Music, Pandora, Amazon, Instagram, YouTube, and any others that you can think of. They don't even take a commission and offer unlimited uploads for a yearly subscription fee as low as $22.99. As many of you artists know, this is vastly different from the traditional model, which charges you up to $40 per release. And on top of that, they take up to 9% of your sales and streams. DistroKid also offers automatic payment splits, so you can easily pay your collaborators or be paid if you collaborate with someone or work on a track or album if you're a songwriter, producer, feature. And for all you cover artists, you can even upload your cover songs for $12 a year on DistroKid rather than paying a per release licensing fee. On top of all of that, they offer several free promo tools for DistroKid members and have several additional services like DistroVid for music video distribution and Mixia, their instant mastering service. If you're curious about artists who have used DistroKid and want to hear more about it from them, check out some of the testimonials at distrokid.com/love. DistroKid's goal is to reach more independent artists so that they can get their music out there. Use our promo code THE1SHEET for 30% off your first year when you sign up for a new DistroKid membership. Again, that's THE1SHEET for 30% off your first year when signing up for new members. That's another thing too. I think it's important to have different revenue streams as an artist too. And you see it a lot in hip hop. There's a lot of hip hop artists that, yeah, they have their music and then they have their business ventures on the side. Like look at 50 Cent, look at everything that he does. I think that's probably one of the biggest. Or Dre with beats. Like they have these they're building a dynasty rather than just a music career.
Yeah.
And I think that's super, super important.
Yeah, because eventually your buzz will die out. I think Fetty Wap was one of the most honest voices about that, is when he was like, I know I have a time of when I'm going to be popping, and then I'm going to, and then he went on to like be a fentanyl trafficker and get locked up. So that probably wasn't in his plans to actually get out, but he was very honest about that. And I think other people have to acknowledge that too. Like, if you're popping in the spotlight, that only lasts for, a couple years. Maybe it's just like the average NFL player's career. What does that last, like 3 or 4 years or something?
Yeah.
But the stars, I mean, you see them in there for like 10, 12 years or something like that. So I don't think everyone has that star power. And if you are on, you got to look for other ways to either continue that buzz or make as much money as you can while you can.
Yeah.
But I think that's the cool route of being an independent artist. I feel like fans of the community you cultivate is a lot more long lasting than an artist who just gets thrown into the spotlight and it's like, oh, we like them for 4 months, and then after that, there's an artist, I don't listen to this kind of music, so I'm only basing this off of what I've seen on social media. But do you know the artist Forbats?
No, I don't.
So he had some song that took off. It was like Act 1 something, Act 2 something. I don't know what it was called, something like that. And then Drake got on it. Then he dropped an EP with Kanye on it, and he was big as fuck for like 4 months on TikTok. He had a trending sound that was everywhere, and I have not heard anything of him since. Now, that could be very well because I don't listen to that kind of music, but that's an example of how quick popularity can come and go in today's age. So I think on the independent side of things, if you can cultivate an audience who actually likes you as a person and the music that you make, that goes so much further than being popping for a couple months, because that's something that you can take with you for hopefully as long as you're going to. I don't plan on stopping making music anytime soon. So I know the people who are rocking with me are going to be there until the wheels fall off.
Do you think the direct-to-consumer market in music is growing more and more important? Because I know you're on a platform called Grouped that was designed by Mike and John Kilmer.
Yeah.
Kilmer is actually coming on tomorrow.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm having dinner with him tonight.
Are you really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. He was the first person I ever interviewed for what's now my sports podcast, but it ended up being, it originally started as like a social media and entertainment show. But yeah, that's funny. Small world.
Cool.
But
he's a good guy.
Yeah, he's awesome. But yeah, do you think artists should take more advantage of stuff like that? Like if they have the fan bases that you're building, especially if they have hundreds of thousands of people listening to their music, or even just to, like we were just talking about, getting that secondary stream of income. Like how important do you think the direct-to-consumer route is becoming for independent artists and even, mainstream artists?
Yeah, well, I love Grouped. I got to give a shout out to my buddy Finn, who actually started and is the brains behind the whole operation. He lives here too.
Oh, sweet.
He kind of flies under the radar, but he's the person who originally like started and got it up and running, and still to this day is like doing all the business shit. He's such a cool guy. He's the one who John introduced me to him. He actually lived in my apartment building.
Really?
Yeah. And so, I think the platform he started, along with other platforms like, what are some of the other big platforms? I know like Mike used to be on Famigo.
It's like Patreon.
Patreon. I was thinking of not Pandora, Patreon, like or OnlyFans. Even though that's just mainly for like girls shaking ass and shit. But like, there's some musicians who have OnlyFans that I think do pretty well on there too. I think it can be a very good move, and I don't think you should wait to start one because you never know who cares enough to like throw you a couple bucks to see what's up. I want to get more involved with mine. At the moment, I'm just throwing up any demos I make or any songs that are finished that are set to come out. I'll throw those up earlier too, but I think I got like 30 or something people in there who are paying like $5 a month, something like that. Solid. So, and I didn't expect anyone to sign up. I didn't know anyone would care enough to spend a couple bucks to hear my stuff early, or like the demos that I make. But I think all artists should start one just to see what happens. It also, for me, it motivates me to like keep creating, to supply that, like those core people who really care enough to pay $5. Like, I want to make them as happy as they can be by, feeding them as many quality demos and songs that I can. So I think it's a really good idea.
How often are you performing?
Not often at all.
Not often?
Actually, one of my main goals this year was to get partnered with a booking agent, and we did that about maybe 2 months ago or something like that. And my first round of shows will be in February.
Cool.
So, and then hopefully more in March and April, but we'll see.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I love performing live, though. I've done it very sporadically in the past, but yeah, I love performing live.
Where are you going to go? Are you going to kind of stay around Nashville? Are you going all around the U.S.? Or?
It's going to be mainly in the Midwest, the East Coast, and the South.
Sweet.
Like Florida, Charlotte, or I don't know, actually not Charlotte. It's like some company or some city I've never heard of in North Carolina. I'm assuming it's probably close to Charlotte, though. And then
the Outer Banks.
That place looks awesome. I would love to go there. And then like Columbus, Lansing, which is where I consider like my home in the United States, and Michigan. So that'll be fun. But yeah, I mean, eventually, the way that works is you kind of got to come to these bigger artists, agents with a music resume and show them, this is what I've done. These are the people that I've brought. These are what the footage looks like, the pictures. Let me open up for someone bigger. Unless you I have like a breakthrough song by then and I can like go skip the line and go straight to a headlining tour. But I think it'd be fun to open for some bigger artists. So that's going to be the goal at some point next year, is to get on someone's tour as like an opener.
Man, if Mike tours again, that would be a sick tour to get on.
I don't think he needs openers.
No, but I mean, he brought Charlie on Friday along with him the one time, who ended up blowing up after that.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to Skis, but Skis was there for a bit.
Yeah. When it comes to Mike, I think him and Russ are like the independent goats, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree for sure.
I went to Mike's show in Denver. Hell of an experience. I had so much fun. And then I went to his show in Chicago, and I had even more fun.
Yeah. And
I got to meet him. And it's cool being able to meet someone who you look up to. And I mean, they've just done it, in my opinion, they've done it right. I don't know what the behind the scenes looks like and how their business model is set up, but him and Russ are probably my two North Stars on the independent side that I look to for running my operation. So I really respect what they've built. And if I ever got the chance to perform with either one of them, I'm fanboying out for sure. Like both of them mean a ton to me, and that would be like an absolute honor if I got the chance to do that. Maybe someday.
I saw Mike for the first time this past summer at the Calgary Stampede. He finally came to Calgary. It wasn't his full like tour show, because it was a festival show. Yeah, but it was still sick. I want to perform there, dude. The Calgary Stampede. Yeah, you've heard of it then?
Oh yeah, we actually applied to perform there, and
really,
yeah, I think I got rejected. But
where'd you apply to perform?
I don't know, to be honest. Like, it was just like, hey, do you want to do this? And I was like, yeah. They're like, okay, we'll submit you. So.
Was it one? I wonder if it was one of the tents, or if it was.
It was something. It wasn't like a big stage. It was like a smaller.
Okay.
Smaller something.
Some of those tents are big stages, though.
Yeah.
So, for those who don't know, if you haven't heard of the Calgary Stampede, it was basically a rodeo with a carnival, and one big tent on the grounds called Nashville North. And then slowly over time, it's basically developed into an 11-day long music festival.
It's 11 days?
It's 11 days.
See, I didn't even know it was specifically a music festival.
It's not. It was a rodeo. It was like a rodeo, and now it's basically a music festival because they have the rodeo, they have like the fair, and then they have the Nashville North tent, and then which is just a mainly country tent, and then the Saddle Dome shows, which were all the big artists, and then like the nightclubs all started putting up tents that can hold anywhere from 500 to 5,000 people in these tents. So all these bars have tents all around downtown, and there's
awesome.
It's sick. So it's basically a music festival now.
Yeah, I want to perform at a festival so bad. I have these little goals that I want to tick off that I'm not necessarily every day like, I'm working fucking hard as fuck to do this thing. But my original goal when I started making music was to perform at one house party, and then I was going to stop.
Really?
And then I did that, and I was like, bro, this shit's lit. And then I just kept on going until now. But performing at a festival, I cannot wait till whatever festival that may be. Just seeing my name on a lineup would be fucking sick. I opened for Ray Shremmerd and I think they're EDM, a group called Galantis in 2019. It was I don't know if they still do it, but it was a festival in Lansing. It was put on by the people who run Breakaway, which they do festivals. I think they have like a couple a year in the United States, but it was called Prime. And I was the second person on stage after like the opening DJ. And I think I performed for like maybe 250 people, but it was fucking awesome. I'll never forget that. I was the only set where it poured rain.
Oh, really?
And I was like, fuck y'all, I'm not stopping. I need this. I need every bit of this stage time. And no one left. Maybe That's like five people like walked away, but like it was just such a fun time that people were standing there in the fucking pouring rain who had no clue who I was.
And were they vibing with you?
Fucking vibing. It was awesome. Yeah.
They probably respected the hell out of you for staying up there in the rain too.
Who the fuck is this guy? It's fucking soaking out here. Yeah, it was a fun time.
That's cool, man. Yeah, definitely. If you can get into Calgary Stampede, it'd be dope. Mike performed at a spot called Badlands, which is owned by Blueprint, who's like a music promotion company. But it's one of the bigger tents. Like it was him and Diplo.
Oh, really?
Him and Diplo, yeah. So that tent, I think they could probably squeeze 6,000, 7,000 people in there if they really wanted to.
I saw Diplo's tent for Stagecoach last year, and that thing was packed out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like tons of people were there because I think Stagecoach is now branching a little bit outside of country. You know what Stagecoach is?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I think they had like a couple hip hop acts pull through and do like a couple songs, I'm pretty sure. But I think it's a good idea because country to me is starting to branch into other genres as well. Even the one that I started, Mountain Pop, the production is very country influenced. And I think them, opening their doors to other genres coming into is just gonna keep on making it. I think at one point it passed hip hop as the most popular music in the world for like a brief second. So I think they have a long-standing shot to go neck and neck, like back and forth with who likes what more.
Well, I think country right now is driven by hip hop.
For sure.
Because I feel like I always talk about this, especially on social media, like traditional country doesn't really sell anymore, and traditional country fans can't really handle that. So anytime you see like a Florida Georgia Line or a Wallen or any like Sam Hunt, or when Beyonce starts doing country, they're always pissed off. They're like, this isn't country. I'm like, yes, it is.
Yeah.
The music evolves over time. Hip hop evolved not too long ago. It went from mostly rap to more melodic, and now it's a combination of both. And country now is using different sounds from other genres, or other genres using different sounds from country. So the biggest two songs in the world ever are now country hip hop.
Yeah, and it's just like, old hip hop heads would look at Lil Uzi and be like, this isn't rap. Yeah, it is. Yeah. He's rapping his ass off. It sounds awesome too. So I think people are just gonna have to accept it, or also too, you don't have to listen to it. You can just fucking listen to 90s country the rest of your life. Like, no one's gonna be hating on you for that, and you'll probably be happier not listening to the newer stuff. So I think music is supposed to change and and sound and structure and all sorts of shit just to keep it interesting. If we just kept it the same like forever, that shit would be boring as fuck.
For sure. Are we ever going to hear a J-pop record from you?
Dude,
Since
I
you
would
were born and raised
100%. If anyone wants to work from Japan, I would have to do it. That's the home country. I got to put on for Japan.
That would be so much fun to do.
Yeah.
I love K-pop and J-pop, just the sound, because they use a lot of hip-hop bass.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it would be super fitting.
Yeah, their swag is unmatched, too. In Japan, they have like that very feminine kind of, like, it kind of feels like glam 1980s rock style still. And the girls over there are like mad attracted to the dudes who are still dressing like the 80s rock stars. And maybe they're either way back in the past, or maybe that's where music's going. I remember when I was in Italy when I was like 15 or 16, and I saw everyone wearing like a ton of leather shit, and I was like, this is weird. And then that made its way over into the United States, and I was like, oh shit, they were just like other countries are ahead of us and shit that we don't even know about yet, especially fashion and stuff like that. Like Japan is fucking 30 years ahead of the United States in technology. You'll go over there and see some shit that when I was in 6th grade, my buddy was FaceTiming his grandpa. I was fucking 11, and he's just on his phone talking to him. I'm like, what's that? He's like, oh, it's my grandpa. Check him out. And he's like, what's up? I was like, bro, what the fuck is going on right now?
How old are you now?
31.
Okay, I just turned 30, so same,
around
similar age.
Yeah.
Cool. Man, that's 6th grade. That's like me thinking back. There was still flip phones at the time.
It was crazy. On a flip phone. He flipped it out and then flipped the front part sideways and pulled a little antenna out and was talking to his grandpa.
That's crazy.
Wild.
What's when did you move to the US?
It was on and off, but permanently 14.
Okay. And you said you come from a military family?
Yeah, my dad is in the Navy for like 24 years or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. Shout out the Navy.
Still in the Navy?
No? Nope. He retired and he teaches now. He's a professor.
Cool. What brought you? So was it music that brought you to Nashville then? Or,
yeah, and to be closer to my parents.
Oh, so they're here?
No, so they're not too far of a drive in a different state. But I moved from Los Angeles.
Okay. How was the LA vibe for you?
I love LA.
Yeah.
I have nothing bad to say about LA. It was, I mean, you cannot beat the weather. You can't, the day trips you can take there too.
Yeah.
Days drive away from San Diego, Big Bear, California, which is one of my favorite places in the United States. It snows up there. You can hit the beach whenever. Bro, the beach days, like getting turned on the beach with your friends is so fun in the summer. And yeah, I mean, the only thing, there's just too many people there.
Yeah.
Greater LA is like 19 million people. That's so fucking much.
That's
when you're
insane.
flying into LA, it's like, it damn near will if you don't like being in places that are super packed, it definitely will like trigger a little bit of your like paranoia. There's so fucking much going on there all the fucking time. It does not sleep. It's always there's always some shit to do. There's always some fucking homeless man trying to like beat your ass. Like you gotta be on edge all the time. Yeah. But I love it. It's sick. The hikes out there too are crazy. That's one thing. There's hiking here, but there's too many fucking bugs. If I had the keys to the world, I would eliminate all bugs, and I don't even give a fuck what it would do to the ecosystem. If it fucks it all up,
not a bug guy.
Not a bug guy, dude. No, I fucking hate bugs, to be honest. I love animals, but hate bugs.
Have you ever been to Australia?
I will not. I will go to Australia. I was about to say I will not go to Australia. I rock with Australia, dude. There's this one guy out there who listens to my shit who, I don't know if he even follows me on Instagram or anything else, but he's always in the YouTube comments like,
nice.
Mate, you gotta come to Australia. I'm like, I do, man. Let's go out there. Just keep those fucking big ass fucking huntsman spiders away from me. But
they're not even the dangerous ones.
I don't care. I'm stomping every one of them. But yeah, no, Australia seems like a fun place to go. And Melbourne and Sydney are frequently in like my top 10 most listened to cities. So
Cool.
I would love to pop out there and rock out with my Australians for a little bit.
They'll have to for sure.
Yeah.
Did you notice a big difference in how the music industry works between LA and Nashville? now that you've lived in both?
Yes, for sure. LA is very cliquey. Nashville doesn't really care who you are, what you look like, how many, what you got going on. If you're a good musician, they'll partner up and be down to work.
For sure.
But it's very like LA. Maybe it's because I wasn't as tapped in as I thought I was out there, but Nashville has a lot bigger songwriting community.
Yeah.
And so I think they're just focused on getting a good song, whereas LA is focused on being around people who have the most buzz.
Right.
So, and to be honest, I don't give two shits about hanging out with people who are on or being in certain poppin' circles. I don't really like those people anyway, so.
Fair. How it kind of works though too is different. I found like LA is they'll split it based on how much you wrote, whereas Nashville, it's like the saying's like say a word, get a third. It's like you're in the. I always hear Hardy talking about that, but there's the writing process between them or the business side of it, I guess, is interesting to see.
Yeah, I wouldn't really know because I write my own shit.
Fair.
So I've just recently started working with some songwriters and it's gone well. But I would have no problem. Like if someone's working on something with me, like, yeah, give them whatever equal split they feel happy with.
For sure.
But in LA, I feel like there's more people who are like foaming at the mouth to take advantage of you. Whereas here, again, maybe I'm not as tapped in as I think I am, but it doesn't seem like that exists on the level that it does in California.
No, I got that vibe when I first came to Nashville too. Like I ended up just surrounding myself with artists. I was out all the time networking, and it's more of like, I'll bring you up, we'll bring each other up rather than, hey, who can I talk to bring myself up?
Yes.
Type of thing.
Yeah, LA is just a bunch of stepping stones.
Yeah.
I've been stepped on plenty of times too. Like think you're
I feel that.
mad close with people and then they literally cut you off and don't talk to you again.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, that shit sucks. And that's why I work with people who I know are my actual friends. Like we remove music from the process. I'm still going to kick it with them and chill with them and stuff like that. But I feel like it took me a very long time to build that circle. And I'm just thankful I'm not stuck in some circle where I feel like I got to impress people or I gotta do some shit for someone and kiss someone's ass. I kiss my own ass and it's gotten me this far. So
good.
Yeah.
What's next for you? Or let me phrase it
Everything.
this way.
Everything. Everything's next for me.
So, let me phrase it this way. What do you want? Whether it's in the distant future or the near future. I know you said you want to do more shows. You said you're going to work on social media a little bit more, but in terms of your career, what's the one thing where you're like, I really, really want to do this?
I want to be happy. I want to love what I'm doing and be able to continue making a living off this and prove everyone who believes in me that they were right, and myself too. I think when artists set off, and this isn't just musicians, this is anything on the creative path, you're always met with, I don't know if that's a good idea or not. Maybe you should just go get a regular job, because that's what we're all conditioned to think growing up. I don't know how it is in Canada, but I'm assuming it's very similar since we're right fucking next to each other. So when you do start to see a little success and people are like, okay, he's onto something, but I don't know if he's gonna make it like that. And then it keeps going and going. And now you got people be like, bro, I believed in you the whole fucking time. And then new people who find my shit on social media would jump on a sword for me compared to people who I've known for years. That blows my fucking mind.
Yeah.
So I have to put on for those people and myself. There is no fucking going back. I have to take this the distance, man. I'm trying to see 100%. How far I can fucking take this shit. And everyone who I've spoke with that has been like, hey man, you're onto something. I'm like, well, tell me what I need to do to like move the needle. Cause sometimes I run out of ideas. I don't know I know social media is a big thing. I know I can keep making the music I'm making, which I'm obviously going to be doing both of those, but like, what could I do extra? And I've been told the same thing from multiple people. It's just keep doing what you're doing. And that's a little frustrating because I feel like I'm winging this whole shit. I feel like I don't know what I'm doing sometimes, but yeah, that's what's next is just keep doing what I'm doing, learning, trying new things, and making sure me and the people around me are taken care of.
I feel like that's kind of the industry to a point, is because it changes so much. It's like you never really know what you're doing. You can have a plan, you can have a strategy, you can line up an entire business plan of what you're going to do, where you're going to go, and shit can just change on a dime.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a Mike says it a lot on his podcast. That he says there's a quote: "It's you make plans and God laughs." It's like I try not to get too like even when I drop a song, I shit you not, if it gets one stream, I'm lit. One person listen to my song that I made out of my bedroom with people who are in fucking Colorado and LA. That I just a thought popped into my head. I recorded some dumb shit into a mic, and people were like, "This is cool." That will always get my fucking rocks off. And the fact that I drop a song now, it gets 20,000 streams in the first day is mind blowing to me because I have no musical talent. This is all just icing on the cake. Like I'm living my dream already. Now it's just it's just to see like how much I can fucking live this shit. So I don't take a day of this for granted. I know I'm really lucky. I know there's people who are way more talented than I am and work way harder that could be in this position too and would do anything to trade for the position I'm in. So I always try to remind myself how thankful, how grateful I am to be in this position. And I try not to get too attached to like the things that I necessarily want because I already have a lot. Yeah. So yeah, it's just, I'm fucking open to anything though. Like fucking doing a lot of side quests too. Yeah. Fucking running marathons and shit. Love running. Unreal. Yeah.
I feel like I have to take a step back sometimes too and just look at like where you started, where you are now. Mm-hmm. It's like I've always been a big dreamer and I'm always thinking of the next. I'm like, I got to get to this point. I rarely take the time to step back and be like, shit, I've done more than I thought I have.
Yeah.
Like I did a song with Afro Man. And
That's hard.
I remember in grade like 3.
Oh, 45.
Yeah, it's always, it's like, because I got high.
Yeah.
Because I got high. Like,
that's hard.
The fact I never would have thought I would ever do a song with Afro Man.
Yeah.
And it landed me on radio and it landed me in Rolling Stone. And then I'm like, I'd never followed that up. And I still have to look back and be like, damn, I still did a song with Afro Man at one point though too.
Yeah, like one of my favorite artists has reached out to me on 2 occasions and been like, I'm trying to get on that song. And that shit, that is cooler than the actual feature they could send back. It's the nod of like, you're doing something that I like and I want to be a part of that. Yeah. That is, I was fucking buzzing off that shit. I had to put my phone.
Can you say?
I don't want to say it because I want to actually make a song with them and then I'll say it.
Got you. Okay.
But I'll tell you after.
Tell me after.
Yeah. But I don't want to put it out there and then
no, it's all good.
Someone who's fucking pulling the strings in the universe is like, nah, fuck it, you can't get it out. But yeah, I have a song coming out next Friday called So Far So Good, and then it's about having a problem of looking back because I'm all gas forwards, but when I do look back, I can be like, man, you've done a good job so far. And I don't get told that a lot from people who I know closely. I get told that a lot from people online, like even in lower 48 when I was like comments from the people saying that he can't miss. The comment section never lies, bro. And people are lit in my comment section like, bro, you never miss, your shit's dope, blah, blah, blah. and that's hard to not digest and be like, man, I am fucking lit. I'm fucking doing this shit. I got to keep a level head. But when it comes to my own thoughts on my music, like I know I still have to become a lot better of a singer. I have to do this, I have to do that. But like I wasn't singing until fucking 2.5 years ago. And now people like when I sing. So that's awesome. So I think so far, like I'm doing a good job. You can look at yourself and be like, man, I've fucking done some cool shit. I'm doing a good job. So I feel like as long as you can say that, I mean, you're headed in the right direction. Like why the fuck would you ever stop?
For sure.
Yeah.
We've only got a couple minutes left, but one thing I wanted to ask you before we go, you don't have to say any names, but what's the craziest experience you've had, whether it's with another artist, with a producer, whether it's meeting someone, a fan out at a show, or it can be funny, it can be fucked up. Don't have to say any names.
Yeah, so I was at when I was at Mike's show in Chicago, I know a lot of people who work with him. My buddy Cam is his art director. My buddy Stags runs Stevenson Ranch, and I have no affiliation with that camp at all, other than those are my buddies, and they look out for me and put me in positions to win just off the strength of rocking with me. And if I could do anything for them, I would obviously be like, if they need me, I'm fucking there. And when I went to his Chicago show, I went with Cam, and I got put on the guest list. And meeting Mike when you get to meet one of your favorite artists, that is a surreal experience, because I know a lot of people will never get to meet their one of their favorite artists. So that was cool. But also at that show, I had like maybe 9 or 10 groups of people be like, yo, Ollie, I'm rocking with your shit. Can I get a picture? Bro, I felt like a fucking celeb. That blew my fucking mind. Because again, I have no affiliation with them on the music side. Like, I don't even think I'm in Mike's algorithm. A lot of my Spotify algorithm is still hip hop based, because I did like my biggest songs are still on the hip hop side of things. I'm actively trying to make it more of the mountain pop, the newer stuff, which is why I've been releasing so much music. I'm trying to flip the algorithm.
Right.
But so I don't know how they found my shit, but I had people that rock with him rocking with me. And that blew my fucking mind, dude. That was crazy. I did not I expected to go in there and just like be a fan of his. But there were people in there who were listening to my shit.
It's the best fan base too.
Crazy. Yeah, dude, his fan base rocks out for him. That's the goal, is to eventually, I mean, he pulls festival crowds by himself. Him and Russ. Like,
it's nuts.
Yeah, it's wild. That was probably like getting pictures taken with people who really like my stuff is I was like, man, like this is bigger than I think it is.
Yeah.
I just sit in my room and make music. I don't really go out much anymore. Out as in the sense of like drinking and partying and stuff like that. I just like making songs in my room, and sometimes I feel like I forget that it's bigger than my room.
Yeah.
So.
Reaches millions of people, man.
Yeah.
Cool. The last thing we're gonna do, we don't have to do it on camera, but I'm gonna get you to write down whether it's a thought or a piece of advice or just something that you could give to the next people coming up, and then we're gonna post it when we post your show along with it. And it'll be some wise words from Ollie Joseph.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just give it right now. I'll fucking write it down or whatever.
Yeah, sure. We'll write it down after we cut a camera, but we'll post it with it. Cool. We'll surprise them. Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you again for the time, man. I really, really appreciate it.
Dude, thanks for having me.
Hey, we'll have to grab dinner. I'm in town till December 19th,
sure.
so we'll have to chill. We'll be
and
around.
welcome to Nashville again.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
I love this city.
Yeah, I need to go to Calgary.
Yeah, hey, come through, man. I'll take care of
Stampede
you.
coming real soon, maybe
Absolutely,
next year.
man.
Yeah.
Hey, let me know. I'll do whatever I can to help you out.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, man. It's been a fun time.
You too, man. Thank you.
Sweet.